Hello and welcome, welcome to 8 Eyewitness. I'm in Albert Square and it's Manchester Day. So a good question to ask is, what is Manchesterism? I only heard that word for the first time not so long ago. It's not easy to define. So in this video we're going to go on an exploration of a number of sites, I don't know exactly how many it's going to be, across Greater Manchester. And we're going to try and establish what it is exactly. This is Heron House on Albert Square, designed by Leach Road Walker, 1979 to 82. Since refurbished with large corner windows, that's where Andy Burnham inaugurated number 10 North last Friday, the 24th of July, 2026. It also houses GCHQ and the City Registry Office. It's got good security features, a protected vehicle entrance and inner courtyard, just like in Whitehall. And look, there's the King of the North himself, walking past his office. He's forgotten his glasses. Up there is where the new office is located, a key element of Manchesterism. I wish I could just go up there for an interview with Andy Burnham and ask him, what is Manchesterism? But I don't have any large media organisation behind me. I'm just a humble itinerant YouTuber, out in the rain, tramping the streets. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on to our next location. Oh, and there are some of the candidates in the by-election for the Mayor of Greater Manchester this coming Thursday, the 30th of July, 2026. It's all happening at the moment. This is the postbox that withstood the bomb. I think it's an iconic symbol of the resilience, strength and determination of Manchester to rebuild. Isn't that Manchesterism? But what is definitely considered to be a fundamental part of today's Manchesterism is Metrolink and the B network. We'll be going for a ride later, and sorry about the fast pace of this video, but there's a lot to get through. Please keep hands and feet inside the car. Regeneration wasn't triggered by the bomb. It was already well underway for a number of years before that. Going back to the 1980s, the Royal Exchange is both a symbol of Manchester's past economic power as a centre of the cotton industry, and in more recent times it's symbolic of the city's reinvention and renovation. The innovative spaceship-like theatre was first opened in 1976, yes, 50 years ago. The entire building was extensively repaired after the bomb. Manchester, once a centre of the cotton trade, now a centre of culture, theatre, music and more. Is that Manchesterism? We'll cycle along Cross Street, and this is when I get to pretend to be a tram. Get out of the way! Oh, I'll turn back into a cyclist now. We round the corner onto King Street, and there is another symbol of Manchester's past glory, Ship Canal House. Later we'll see how the Ship Canal looks today. For me, one of the key symbols of Manchester in the 19th century is in that picture over there. It's the spiky golden ball at the very tip of the Town Hall clock tower, 280 feet or 85 metres above the square. It's said to represent both the sun and a ripe cotton seed and alludes to the cotton trade. Where the sun shines, Manchester has trade. Isn't that a precursor of Manchesterism? The statue of John Bright, 19th century Liberal politician born in Rochdale, one of the pioneers of the Manchester-based Anti-Corn Law League, along with Richard Cobden. The Corn Laws were tariffs on imported food. They were abolished in 1846, leading to an era of free trade. That's the statue of William Ewart Gladstone, 4 times Prime Minister of the UK in the 19th century. He was born in Liverpool. Andy, the new PM, was born in Aintree, to the north of Liverpool. Could history be repeating itself? People joked that Mr. Gladstone is pointing the way to Central Station, so let's go and have a look. We'll just check the progress of number 2 St Michael's. In July 2026, construction is well advanced and it's approaching its full height. But thinking about that, didn't Andy Burnham say Manchesterism is about different parties overcoming differences and working together? Well, that's how this project came about. Original plan by footballers, rejected by public opinion, then redesigned, approved and now widely praised. The product of cooperation between developers, architects and the City Council. Isn't that Manchesterism? Manchester Central, previously GMEX, originally Manchester Central Station, 1880 to 1969, transformed from a car park into a world-class exhibition centre during the 1980s, opened by Her Majesty the Queen on the 21st of March 1986, 40 years ago. And here's another potent symbol of Manchester's uniqueness, opened in 1856, a concert hall named not after a composer or a monarch, but an economic principle. The Free Trade Hall was rebuilt after war damage, and it was where in '66 Bob Dylan turned electric, and in '76 the Sex Pistols played a chaotic gig. I wasn't there. But why no commemorative plaque? It's now the face of the Radisson Edwardian Hotel. We'll ride down Peter Street onto Key Street, and we pass this house, birthplace of what became Manchester University. Today, cooperation between universities and businesses to foster high-tech industries is also said to be a part of how they do things in Manchester. And now we arrive at Granada Studios, once the workplace of TV presenter and music maverick Tony Wilson, who I worked with. "This is Manchester. We do things differently here." Those words were never actually spoken by Tony Wilson. It was Steve Coogan playing Tony Wilson in the 2002 movie 24-Hour Party People who said them. Screenplay by Frank Cottrell Boyce. Andy Burnham talks about decentralising power. Broadcasting is a form of power, and in the 1950s it was decentralised with the foundation of Granada Television and the other independent television companies around the UK. Today, the Granada TV site has been transformed into a mixed business, cultural and residential district named St John's. And thinking about it, surely Tony Wilson is the ultimate encapsulation of Manchesterism. We'll cycle through St John's down to the nearby Castlefield district, first built in the mid-18th century, redeveloped in the 1980s, spearheaded by Jim Ramsbottom, later supported by the Central Manchester Development Corporation, co-founded by Tory Minister Michael Heseltine. Castlefield renovation, not demolition, and it happened in the 1980s. And just under those arches, the Embassy Village, a residence for homeless men run by Christian charity Embassy. It received funding from the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and other sources. It was backed by Andy Burnham when he was Mayor of Greater Manchester. It opened just a few months ago in February 2026. Rising above the viaduct, we can see the two towers, Vista River Gardens and Trinity Heights, providing accommodation for wealthier clients. But what about providing homes for the broad mass of the people in between? Andy Burnham has said this is one of his goals as Prime Minister. And what has Vienna, capital of Austria, got to do with this? Later in the tour. We'll cycle out of Castlefield up towards Deansgate now. The Beetham Tower, 2007. Viaducts 1. 2024, a loft by Marriott Manchester, 2026, all designed by Simpson Huff. This gold rush of construction of tall towers is often quoted as a major aspect of Manchesterism, and it was set in motion by the construction of the Beetham Tower from 2004 to 2007. As we can see, Manchesterism was not created by Andy Burnham. It was already well underway, years before he became Greater Manchester Mayor, but the way I see it, he gave it a name and made it part of his brand. This is Deansgate Castlefield Station, right next to the tall towers, and keep in mind that what's set to be the tallest tower outside London will appear in that area of sky in the upper right, the Nobu Tower, a Japanese name for a tower in Manchester, but unfortunately it won't be covered in Japanese-style neon signs. We're on the tram to Salford Quays. Number 2 St Michael's Tower keeps popping up. We go past the 19th century viaduct, now an aerial walkway and garden run by the National Trust. Approaching Cornbrook, the view across the Ship Canal over Salford, once a scene of Lowry-esque factories and chimneys as far as the eye can see. Nowadays, new and recent residential buildings as far as the eye can see. Great view along the Ship Canal towards the towers in the city centre. Manchester's waterfront. Another Tokyo in the making? I'm not sure about that. We cross the bridge into Salford. Is there such a thing as Salfordism? Let's just park that for now. Along Trafford Road, more tall structures, all apartments. The tallest skeleton here is the remains of Furnace House, built in the 60s, an icon of the docks. But soon after, the Ship Canal went into disuse, and Furnace House is now a skeleton. It was never rebuilt. Yes, the Manchester Ship Canal and Manchester Docks, located in Salford. In the 19th century, Manchester traded with the world, but the goods had to go via Liverpool. So what did they do? They built a massive canal to bypass Liverpool. Is that another example of Manchester thinking? And this is Media City, home of the BBC, independent media companies and departments of Salford University. Relocating broadcasters out of the capital, that was done in the 50s. And it happened again here 6 decades later. And soon, it'll be government employees relocating to Manchester. Salford Quays is a pioneering project which began in the 80s and is still ongoing, turning empty docklands into a new city district, similar to London Docklands and Cardiff Bay. Those are the studios of Coronation Street, the iconic Granada TV brand was subsumed into ITV. Now we head back on the Metrolink tram, where cargo ships docked, now people live, shop and spend leisure time, and also pursue exciting jobs in the media. Nearly back in Castlefield, St George's Island apartments. They've been there over 20 years now, through Piccadilly Gardens and onto Piccadilly Station and the empty space next to Piccadilly Station. And it is in this location that a possible HS2 station might be built. Is this part of Manchesterism? Well, the HS2 connection to London would support the goal of greater connectivity between the north and south. Watch this space, but don't hold your breath. Number 1 Port Street is seen as a landmark of urban development in Manchester. It's an upmarket residential tower and associated buildings. A flagship project, often quoted as a prime example of Manchesterism. It's right next to Brownsfield Mill, once the home of plane makers Avro. Plane making, is that part of Manchesterism? Well, not today. And now we're in Ancoats, the first industrial suburb in the world. It certainly made Manchester famous in the 18th and 19th centuries, with its dark satanic mills, mentioned in the poem by Blake. But the renovation of Ancoats is quoted as a prime example of what's been happening in Manchester in recent years. But this area in Ancoats, right in front of us, the former retail park, is going to be a major location in future Manchester. It's the site of the civil service buildings, which will soon be taking shape. They will play a major role in the decentralisation of government departments, a stated goal of Andy Burnham. And here, new residential buildings on a former industrial site in Ancoats. We can hear the construction equipment, saws, hammers, excavators. Is that the sound of Manchesterism? Great Ancoats Street, to my reckoning, no street has seen greater transformation. I think it's an icon of what's been happening. And there is another example of media decentralisation, the northern offices of a London-based newspaper that were once accommodated inside this striking building from 1939. It's still dazzling and groundbreaking today. It was an inspiration to Manchester's Sir Norman Foster, probably the most famous architect in the world. The Northern Quarter, also quoted as Manchesterism in action, once a run-down, forgotten district, now a lively cosmopolitan area. Few could have imagined this in past decades. We'll make our way along Hilton Street, the CIS Tower, inspired by a 1950s building in Chicago, one of the first tall buildings in the UK outside London. The conversion into flexible offices has unfortunately not gone ahead yet. There's the new Co-op headquarters, One Angel Square. Well, new, it was built nearly 20 years ago. An innovative and energy-efficient building designed by 3D Reed. The Co-operative movement is surely a prime example of what we're talking about here. It started in Rochdale in the 1840s and graduated towards Manchester. They wanted to do things better and provide benefits to people. Sound familiar? Inside Victoria Station, an improvised but now permanent memorial to the shocking attack on concert-goers carried out on the evening of Monday the 22nd of May 2017 at 10:31. It happened in the arena, located partly above the station. People reacted with solidarity and support for one another, pulling together, doing what's right. The bee, always a local symbol, took on a special significance. So that's 28 locations that tell us something about what makes this part of the world special. We're going to continue our exploration in a second video, and at the end, I hope to get the definitive answer to the question, what is Manchesterism? So please subscribe to receive all notifications so you'll be updated. And if you want to see videos early, as well as occasional member videos, then you might like to join as a member. And many thanks to my existing members. The continuation video will appear in the upper right when it's ready. So if it's there, click on it now. If not, click on the one on the left. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in Victoria Station, Manchester.